Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. Shout out to the whole LDBC. Make sure you download the Lions Den boxing app on your Android or iPhone. And also, if you want, sign up to the website at ldbc.com. Now, I know that I'm beating a dead horse on this topic, on this specific topic, but if I don't talk about it, then we're not gonna understand the truth of the matter, because when the public gets fed something and it's not even the truth, then sometimes the public runs with it because they don't know the particulars of the situation, And so the situation I'm talking about is with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And, I've been talking about this situation for quite some time now. I've been, it's been something that we've been, discussing for a while. But Timothy Bradley, man, is making it worse, okay? He's making it worse for Top Rank, and he's making it worse for Bud Crawford, and he's making it worse for Bud Crawford fans, too, So, you can check my previous video. I did a previous video on this topic before. But now I'm going to expose the double standards of Timothy Bradley, okay? So, the thing is this. Timothy Bradley is talking about, I think Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I think Errol Spence is not wanting that fight. Yeah, Terrence Crawford said he wants to fight you. The reason why Terrence Crawford said you ain't ducking him is because he's a businessman. Now, I want to address that. How is he a businessman when he has a boss? How can that be considered a businessman? And that boss very much has an influence in who he decides to fight. Or I should say, who he gets to fight, okay? And I'm going to go into that a little bit more, okay? Because this issue is getting on my nerves. In fact, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when I talk about this issue. But I have to talk about it because of what I said at the beginning of the video. Sometimes the public is misinformed and they don't really know the truth. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back to the whole thing about him being a businessman. If he was a businessman, he would be able to have creative control over his career and over who he decides to fight. Much of the time, that's not the case. In fact, his last couple of opponents basically have been in-house fights, okay? Or his last couple of opponents have been fights where they have no business in the ring with him. And where the general public would know that he will watch those guys, okay? That's what's been the situation. all in the while, you see Bob Arum smiling in the wings, thinking probably, oh, that's a good boy. You know, he's watching these guys. And the public is fooled by the level of competition in which he's watching. That's right. And I'm still getting paid from him. Right? Now, here's the thing, man. Kell Brook wants to fight Terence Crawford. Okay? Bob Arum has came out and said that that fight means nothing and that Kell Brook means nothing. But if that was the case, why is it that you wouldn't put your guy against the guy who beat one of the elite welterweights, arguably one of the elite welterweights, and that was Showtime Shawn Porter? Okay? Showtime Shawn Porter beat Danny Garcia. Let's not forget that. Showtime Shawn Porter beat Adrian Broner. Showtime Shawn Porter has names, notable names on his resume. Win, lose, or draw. And Kell Brook was able to beat him. So why wouldn't you put Terence Crawford against Kell Brook? Kell Brook fought Errol Spence. Okay? Which many said was a very, very competitive fight. Which many said that really tested Errol Spence's fortitude and his will. Why wouldn't you want to have that guy on your resume? What is it, Bob? Are you afraid that maybe Kell Brook will go in that thing and give Terence Crawford that work that he's never had before? Is that what it is, Bob? Because although he's had 2 broken eye sockets, he's still ready to fight. Okay? And that's the reality. So the difference between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford is this. Errol Spence is fighting the fights that matter. Terence Crawford is talking the fights that matter. And that is it. Errol Spence is actually doing it. Okay? He's fighting a unification versus Porter. Chances are the next fight after the Porter fight will be the Pacquiao fight. Because according to Timothy Bradley, though, Errol Spence is calling out a 40-year-old Pacquiao who he fought in his prime. But if that 40-year-old still wants to dance, then what's the problem? If that 40-year-old just beat Keith Thurman, what's the problem? If that 40-year-old thinks he can still compete with the elite, then what's the problem? He's choosing to dance. Okay? It's not like Errol Spence or the rest of the welterweights are making him dance. He's choosing to dance, okay? So if he chooses to tango, then he got to tango. And the reason why he got to tango is because he have that WBA strap. Okay? Now, Timothy Bradley said something else that I want to bring to the attention. In my last video about this matter, I said Tim Bradley said there is no other side of the streets. Those were his words, right? But the reality is when Errol Spence wanted to fight him long ago, he said that since when does PBC, since when does Top Rank do business with PBC? I'm a Top Rank fighter. You know, we don't do business with PBC. Those were his words. So what is it, Tim Bradley? Is it okay for you to duck smoke, but it's not okay for Errol Spence to delay smoke, in which he said he has to go get to be undisputed? Which one is it? Inquiry minds want to know. Okay? So, let's fast forward. Now, there's news that Bud Crawford is going to fight Meme Machine. Okay? Whatever his name is. I think it's Meme Machine. Okay? There's news circulating that Terence Crawford is going to fight him. Okay? This is my thing. If I am a Terence Crawford, or if I am Team Crawford, I would be looking for fighters to help him get ready for Errol Spence. Kell Brook would be one of those fighters to do so, since he fought Errol Spence. Okay? I wouldn't be looking for these guys that are coming out the woodwork who we don't know about. Okay? And who are just basically Mandos that are going to be brushed aside with little or no effort at all. So this is how I feel about that situation. Okay? And here's another thing, man. Basically, Bob Arum even said himself, and I've said it many of times, that Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and Showtime Shawn Porter are irrelevant. Okay, so if they're irrelevant, why is Errol Spence trying to fight them? Why did he say he'll even fight Danny Garcia? Okay? And the reality is this, and I'm going to end on this note. Bob Arum doesn't want to make Errol Spence, Terence Crawford fight. Okay? At the end of the day, Timothy Bradley is just doing what is asked of him. Okay? He said in the video that he talks for boxing and he tells it how it is, but that is not true at all. Okay? He tells it how ESPN and Top Rank want him to tell it. And that's just basically it. And from what I see, he is just an Errol Spence hater. You know, Bud fans are Errol Spence haters. ESPN is Errol Spence haters. Because the thing is, they're going to hate PBC fighters due to the simple fact that PBC fighters are not willing to sign these long-term contracts with ESPN, which will maybe not even guarantee that they get the fight that they're after. You know? And it is what it is. Okay? And so with that being said, I'm gonna sign out. You know, at the end of the day, bro, I don't care what people say. Errol Spence is fighting the fights that matter. Okay? Errol Spence is doing his thing. Errol Spence has options. Errol Spence is Free Smoke Jr. Errol Spence knows his strap season. Okay? And with that being said, it's not about being a fanboy. It's about appreciating a fighter who's actually fighting the fights that matter and not talking about the fights that matter. Kell Brook, as I said, would be a good opponent. Would probably give him more of a fight than Amir Khan did. Okay? But when we're asked about that fight, there's crickets. Okay? And I'll say this, and I'll end on this. I'm not even sure if Terence Crawford can beat Yordenis Ugas. Terence Crawford at welterweight has not fought a fighter the caliber of a Kell Brook, the caliber of a Ugas, the caliber of a Porter, the caliber of even the Danny Garcia. You can't put a one-legged fighter, and you can't put a guy who basically had 2 left feet as a top welterweight. Okay? You just can't do it. So instead of talking about Errol Spence so much and things like that, why doesn't he try to fight a fighter who has a higher caliber instead? You know? But anyhow, man, that's all I got, man. Fula signing out. Jarama.